What's going on, peeps? It's time to talk about another YouTuber gone musician that isn't complete cringe. We've previously discussed Quedeca. Today, we have Switzerland's own James Marriott. Keep in mind that this video will be more specifically about his music career than his content creation journey. I've heard the name thrown around the 21 Pilots fanbase and UK YouTube space for some time, but just recently he was selected to appear on the Rock Sound tribute album for Blurry Face, covering Fairly Local, meaning I need to stop ignoring him as God was clearly calling me to actually check him out. This is an indie rock and alternative project that began in 2020 and has blossomed into a shocking amount of success overseas today. His band is doing plenty of shows across the world, and I have a feeling this guy is about to break out pretty soon. One thing I'll point out is that this Best of James Marriott playlist cover photo makes him look like a long-lost member of Tally Hall. Did you know he can speak 3 languages? Anyway, this is how James Marriott went from talking crap about other musicians and careers online to making music himself, and having to face similar critiques. Sometimes life bites you in the ass. From URL to IRL, this is the music journey of James Marriott. James William Marriott was born July 7th, 1997 in Switzerland. He is currently 27 years old. He moved with his family to Buckinghamshire, England at a young age and spent most of his childhood there. Due to his father being a pianist, his sister and him took piano lessons as kids. It was just something for the kids to do with the endless free time they had. The Marriott siblings were competitive growing up, so he didn't like that she was doing the same thing as him. So James quit piano and decided to go off and learn something else instead. He began Aylesbury Grammar School in 2008 for his GCSEs and began posting his own animations using Microsoft Paint, Clay, and other materials online that same year through a now abandoned YouTube channel, CheesyBob20. He kept this project under wraps, knowing that students who pursued similar paths were often mocked or bullied for it. Similar to his experience in theater, James was a huge theater kid who adored musicals like Wicked, but faced harsh language from outsiders for performing. James went through a lot growing up, especially after his parents divorced when he was young, which took a toll on his mental health. James first willingly got into music after seeing a ABBA tribute concert. He had his curiosity piqued by the bassist and was inspired to play bass, but his father wouldn't buy him one and told him to start with a simple guitar instead. So he ended up with a Lil Squire Stratocaster. From there he taught himself how to play guitar for a Beatles songbook with basic chords that he finished within like a few days, inspiring him to start writing his own material. After writing his first song, he showed his family who weren't impressed. To the shock of nobody, his sister called it trash. Just that competitive spirit, huh? It definitely stung, but sometimes you need to be humbled in order to grow. Artists like metal-influenced flamenco duo Rodrigo y Gabriela inspired him to start layering guitar parts. He became obsessed with Guitar Hero 3 and classic rock, often claiming he was born in the wrong generation. James created a new YouTube channel on February 12, 2012 at 14, shifting his focus to music, sharing low-quality videos of his acoustic instruments in black and white. He believed he could express everything through guitar alone, but as he got older, adding vocals just started to make more sense. As he matured, he eventually realized that this wasn't going to work out. He had to complete his A-levels at Bishop Wordsworth School from 2013 to 2015, work as a retail associate at Vision Express, and went on to attend University College London to study Spanish and Portuguese until graduating in 2019. Music was pushed to the side for a while, but slowly came back into his life, discovering new musicians he liked in UCL. In university, his friends would introduce him to new bands like the 1975, leading to him really starting to connect with music on a deeper level more often. But it was now 2016, and he decided to talk trash about people online for a while instead, focusing more on content that would get him views, especially as commentary videos were becoming popular, because positive, wholesome content will only get you 13,000 subscribers. Negativity sells. Eventually branching towards Q&As, challenges, and lyric breakdowns. It was clear to him that being a performer was his true passion, and content creation provided that outlet for him to perform on a stage, sort of, online. These breakdowns and rants gained widespread attention, garnering thousands of subscribers within months. But it was the everything wrong with roast videos that really took his channel to the next level, in 2018 tackling celebrities, musicians, or other YouTubers along with his takes on pop culture and news with humor and cleverness. Many of his victims included James Corden, Lele Pons, Elvis the Alien, Pyrocynical, Morgs, Gabby Hanna, Azilan, and Liza Koshy. I'm sure these videos burnt a few bridges for future collaborations. Sometimes he displays musical skills in these videos by producing diss tracks, most famously against Trisha Paytas, kids rap group Kids Only, Lele Pons, with the latter being recorded in Spanish. I guess his time at UCL paid off. Fun fact, he spent 6 months in Granada, Spain at 21 years old as a part of the course. Something you also notice is that him bringing up that he's trilingual became a bit of a bit in his community. By October 2019, he had surpassed 1 million subscribers. At one point, he was consistently uploading videos and getting millions of views on each one. Like, I remember watching this guy at one point. After graduating, he moved to Brighton on the south coast of the UK. He became a member of the E-Boys YouTube channel in 2020, along with fellow YouTubers Mimulus, Willani, and I'm Alex. Not a fan of that guy, creating a podcast with the other three before venturing into Twitch live streaming. The group ended up disbanding during COVID as James didn't feel comfortable in group settings for obvious reasons, so he kept delaying coming back to the main channel, leading to time management issues. Eventually, Will got frustrated and decided to focus on his own projects. After he left, the rest of them weren't sure what to do since he brought in a lot of the audience. Thankfully, they're all still friends, hopefully not with Alex anymore. But anyway, with a successful YouTube career and all the connections in the world, he seemed to gravitate towards his old passion. James shifted towards music again, due to the pandemic giving more time to try new things, and his growing interest in using YouTube to explore creativity, especially for music, even if it just started out as a joke. Case in point, the diss tracks. His writing process starts with the guitar that he has practiced with self-taught for a decade and a half now, regularly using an old Epiphone Casino. If a melody comes to mind, he records it as a voice note. Whenever inspiration hits, he pulls out his phone and records whatever comes to mind. He also writes regularly with his best friend every couple of weeks to create melodies, chords, and build the foundation of a song together. Marriott lists Two Door Cinema Club, Sam Fender, Foals, and The Strokes as major influences. If you're going to be this big bad music and content critic, surely you're talented yourself, right? He spent his YouTube career criticizing others for trying to make something. Now he has to face the same thing. His debut single, Slow Down, came out on June 1st, 2020. It was inspired by 80s yacht rock with its synth-heavy sound. He's out one night, meets the girl he likes, but wants to take things slow because he's afraid of what might happen if they rush it. The warm reception from fans inspired him to continue making music, even if he now hates the song. I understand his frustration, his vocals are quite thin and lack confidence. With an already established fan base, he had the privilege of his music taking off much quicker than most ordinary musicians who started from nothing. He loves making music, but releasing it feels stressful now that there's a budget, finished producers in hand, a video to be planned, and bigger expectations. James announced his first EP through social media on December 18th, kicking off 2021 with Him on New Year's Day. It has since become his biggest song to date, with 16 million streams. The guitar-oriented indie rock EP, No Left Brain, was released on January 15th, 2021. One scrap from the project was 3 AM. He cut it because one of his riffs sounded too much like Jet's Are You Gonna Be My Girl, and he wasn't happy with the heavy auto-tune and missing drums. Onto the proper tracks, Him is falling for someone who doesn't feel the same way anymore. They moved on with another guy who James doesn't seem to like. Why'd it have to be him? Certainly a catchy, upbeat garage rock tune. New Face goes into more mellow direction with gentle piano chords and quirky drum patterns, before bridging into a lush, fuller passage of synths, realizing they've moved on and changed, not for their ex, but for someone new. Ending with the dashing power pop of Calling and exploring loneliness, possibly caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. As he placed more focus on music, you'd notice that uploads on his main channel would slow down drastically. Single It Wake Up was released on July 2nd, 2021, similar to Bastille in the poppier style of Foals, reaching out his hand to his lover for another chance even if the relationship isn't working out due to his poor attitude. He soon began teasing a new project, releasing Gold and Sleeping on Trains in anticipation with hints of 2000s indie rock, similar to Maximo Park and The Whitest Boy Alive. James announced Bitter Tongues on Twitter, arriving June 24th. It really struck fans, as well as attracted new listeners. There's an unreleased song called Bliss that was written about James' grandmother who had passed away. We kick off his second effort with the driving angst of Where's Everyone Gone? His fear of being abandoned by his YouTube fanbase or people close to him. These feelings make him doubt himself and question if he's good enough. You can hear how much more confidence he's gained, helped by the bigger budget production-wise that brings his vision to life. Woohoo! Gold details a breakup with an ex who paid him to keep quiet about some awful stuff. Carlights became popular within the queer community as it sees James talk about the emotions he felt when he had a crush on a guy at 17. He didn't know how to handle it back then, even if it felt right, being worried about what people around him would think. Love how it just grows in intensity until we get James singing his heart out. Great ballad. Sleeping on Trains is another energetic breakup track, being stunned with how a relationship ended so fast despite the obvious signs, as he shows how emotionally drained and stuck in old patterns he feels, like he's lost touch of who he is. Lastly, we get the disco-influenced Grapes, seen as the obvious standout based on becoming a young adult. A gentle man and strong woman are childhood sweethearts, but they haven't grown up or lived their lives fully yet, so unfortunately their love and timing don't line up. In May 2022, James began writing his debut album and hinted at a release in 2023. He wanted to make an album, imagining what it would be like if he left the UK and moved back to Spain, where he lived for half a year during university. Luckily, the previous releases helped launch his first UK tour with a full band. Samuel Horsley assists on bass guitar, who he met through YouTube friend Arthur. The two discovered guitarist and keyboardist Jono Suter. Lewis Salenson is another guitarist that helps out with percussion. Jaguar Shikori was the original drummer James met at a party drunk, who had drumming experience from university, lasting until 2024, being replaced by Josh Kaplan. Marriott hit the road in February 2023. Their live shows pushed him further into the spotlight, leading to opportunities to play with artists like Lovejoy and Jake Bugg at the Royal Albert Hall. Heck, he had an acoustic gig with Louis Capaldi, but that was later scrapped due to Capaldi's poor health. In May, they performed at the Great Escape Festival in Brighton, and later opened for one of his favorite bands, Two Door Cinema Club in Leeds. Then he previewed songs for his debut album before playing shows in Australia for the first time. So Long came out on June 9th, 2023, as the lead single. Romanticize This followed on July 27th, and Don't Blame Me was released on October 19th. On November 10th, 2023, Marriott's debut Are We There Yet was released independently. It reached number 17 on the UK albums chart and number 2 on the country's indie chart. Also that month, he revealed the dates for his European tour. The title was inspired by Shrek 2 when Donkey kept saying, "Are we there yet?" His sister and him used to repeat stuff like that all the time as kids, sticking with him as a deeper question where, metaphorically, we're never really there. You feel like you're going on a journey throughout the record, advising listeners to be honest. Beginning with a soft acoustic guitar and piano before building to an explosion of powerful instruments on You Are Here, introducing the listener to this album where he lays out his desires to grow up, accept himself, and start fresh. He warns against relying on the past to guide your future, as it can hold you back or lead you in the wrong direction. Critics have been unsure about his voice for being too white, but right away you can hear the improvements. Taking us to the fast tempo So Long with loud drums and electric guitars, being unsure about leaving a place he wishes could be home, but in the end he pushes himself to let go. A lot of emotion in the final hook, putting his all into those notes. The poppy danceable Going Postal at the Party is pulling away from drunken social circles and relationships to embrace sobriety, while dealing with anger, feeling abandoned, and having general unhappiness. In comparison to trying to connect with someone who talks through words that go over his head, instead of real face-to-face interaction, leading to a feeling of distance. Neat guitar solo leading to the final hook. Romanticize This is based on suicidal ideation, while not trying to make a bad or toxic situation seem better than it really is. His vocal delivery is just devastating here, man. Hits home. In between is a much softer guitar and synth-driven tune, discussing his original desire for escapism, where he wanted to leave where he lived, go somewhere new where no one knows him, and pretend to fit in, likely as a way to learn more about himself. The other side sees James struggling with suicidal thoughts, feeling stuck and ready to give up. However, this song ultimately shows that he made it through this time, making it like a healthy way to reflect on those dark moments. White Noise is a soft, emotional ballad with soft drums and strings, exploring what friendship really means and questions the worth of relationships if they might still leave you feeling alone in the end. Certainly a welcome difference in sound, as a lot of the songs were starting to get derivative and blend together, admittedly. Denial is falling for someone who laughs in their face about the chance at romance that James pushes for anyway, ending off with one of the more infectious instrumentals, Don't Blame Me, reminiscing on a past ex he realizes he was never really in love with. They were dishonest, and he knew they wanted to be with another. In the album's context, he uses this song as a loop, bringing back the struggle for growth theme from the first track, so the album ends where it began, a cycle that never really ends as he finds himself still being negative to himself. Due to absurd TikTok promotions, Don't Blame Me reached Spotify's Viral 50 chart, and White Noise also went viral in late 2023, For the next year, he wrote his follow-up record, starting before July 2024, recording and producing for 2 months at Big Jelly Studios in Ramsgate. In February 2024, Marriott performed on BBC Radio 1 stage at the Reading Leeds festivals, and on the Big Top stage at the Isle and Wight Festival in June. However, his Leeds Festival show in August was cancelled due to safety concerns from Storm Lillian. He faced criticism afterwards for charging fans to attend a replacement show at the Key Club in Leeds. Thankfully, that was all figured out. Now, going in a more serious direction as he has been, hasn't stopped him from making whatever good bin, bad bin is with Will and E.
Good bin, bad bin, they are friends. The YouTube fun never ends.
Once the finishing touches were made for the second record, he released the lead single for his sophomore record, I Don't Want to Live Like This, released on January 30th, 2025, debuting at number 67 on the UK singles chart, with the second single, Too Fake, arriving in March and It's Only Love dropping in May. He would begin the normal TikTok promo strategy to get the songs out there, a strategy he once criticized, funny enough. You've become what you hated, James Marriott. He sits down with his content manager Kiwi and thinks of something silly in short form. For example, videos made to look like they're filmed from a different angle, some random doofus on the street, with a fake Snapchat style caption just to suddenly cut to a song. Instead of paying a bunch of famous influencers to react to his music, he paid $200 to the Costco guys for their thoughts and got 5 big booms. I'm sure that was worth the money. Around the same time, Marriott officially announced Don't Tell the Dog, that he called a mix of emotional pop, theatrical alt-rock, and a touch of bite. Get it? Scheduled for June 13th, 2025. It should be out by the time this video is done. The cover features a dog named Jasper, inspired by his childhood golden retriever of the same name. When Jasper passed away, his sister introduced him to a touching acoustic song called Jasper, and made a tribute video using old clips of their pet. The lyrics, especially the line, "Take me down to the river," resonated deeply, as Jasper's ashes were scattered in water. Even now, 15 years later, this song still brings him to tears. To him, it's less about missing Jasper and more about mourning the loss of his childhood and the passage of time. So not telling the dog reflects his choice to leave childhood behind and not carry everything forward into this new chapter of life. Ventriloquist gave me 2010's dance pop ballad vibes with that synth and bass line centered instrumental, as it builds into hints of roaring guitars and angelic harmonies. Even though he feels anxious, like everyone is watching or judging him, this fear of going outside, he's set on staying confident and making things look simple for someone else. Something's wrong is wanting a relationship to work, but also knowing it might be time to end it. Ooh, I love that guitar riff. Plasticine is a fun pop rock banger that should have gone longer. The pain of a past relationship, using plasticine as a metaphor to show how both people were shaped and changed by love and sadness. It's Only Love gives me dream pop vibes, being unable to get over an ex. One of my favorites here is Food Poisoning, thanks to the funky riff and playful melodic hook, based on a relationship slowly falling apart. They don't talk honestly, ignore the problems, and act like nothing's wrong. Something nourishing has become toxic. The colorful infectious synth rock Too Fake tackles a dental issue he had as a child but wasn't treated because the pain felt familiar and comfortable. Similar to how he won't cut ties with this girl. He wants to leave her, but the familiar feeling of being connected to her is just a kind of painful comfort that he can't let go of. It really shows how things that happened to him as a kid may have influenced how he handles things later in life. New Wave inspired I Don't Want to Live Like This is someone loving another person deeply, almost desperately, but those feelings aren't returned. How Could I Say No felt very vocal focused, with how minimal it was, being blindsided by an ex moving on more quickly than expected, feeling replaced. Some of his best vocals come on Pillow Fight, fighting with your inner thoughts, wanting to be honest with your lover, but something tells you to avoid conflict, a feeling that makes you want to die. In comparison to being stuck in a toxic relationship on Why Don't You Kill Me, wanting to walk away but not being able to. Closing with the changeability of limbs, becoming so flexible that he essentially becomes someone else's version of the truth, trying to mold himself to fit into another person's life and ideals. Instrumentally, it was intended to make people say, "Oh my god, where did that come from?" as it begins acoustic, builds into soft guitar and drum touches before leaving you in silence. As of recently, he launched an iced coffee brand called Rods with Villainy, offering 3 different flavors. Despite being seen more as a musician now than a YouTuber, it's pretty cool he still keeps in contact with his content creation roots. His cover of Fairly Local will be out this month for Rock Sound. The story goes that within the 10 minutes he received this news, he contacted his producer to get to work on a version that did completely imitate the original. keeping to his own style while honoring it. Straightforward, hard-hitting drums and heavier guitar sounds used in a soft, airy falsetto to give it a ghost-like feel in the rap part. You can tell he puts so much effort into this stuff and loves what he does genuinely through his interviews, describing the entire process. Ultimately, I don't have a lot of issues with Marriott's music. He has a lot of potential to make some wildly catchy, fun indie rock bangers that go off live. As his voice continues to improve, I can certainly see myself keeping up with James going forward. Thank you for proving that not all YouTuber music is garbage. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, make sure to like and subscribe for more base content. I'll see you all in the next one. Make sure to love all and peace.
Thank you.